Let's give it a little bit of time for people to join in. I can already switch the camera because I'm just going to jump into it today. I don't really have any intro. I don't really have anything else to talk about. But today we're just going to chill, I guess. This is going to be different from the last stream where I had like a whole idea of what I wanted to do inside of Bitwig. Today I have really no idea what I want to do. And I guess the main plan for today is to just try and do cool things. One of the things that I want to do is immediately remove, I guess, this over here so that it's more like Ableton. I'm not sure if I'll ever use something like this. Maybe it's nice to have that, but it's probably nicer for it to open up like this. Once again, I'm running the demo version, as you can see over here. That means that any project that we make won't save. And it also means that I believe I cannot save any of my settings here. So it just opens up by default with this thing in here. And there's not really much that I can do to save that or to change that. I need to send out the message on here. I completely forgot the announcement of my own stream in my own Discord. I saw that Dash announced it in his Discord, but... just a quick message here. Let me quickly grab the link, which for some reason you cannot do from your actual live page. You have to go somewhere else in the YouTube Studio thing. As always, a lot of setup, a lot of starting out, stuff like that. But let me know if everything is running fine. I have been testing out, I guess this needs to go to -1 here as opposed to 0 dB. For my microphone not to clip. I made my microphone louder, I think. I also found out the reason why on my full cam the microphone went lower. So now the microphone shouldn't change in volume if I switch between the full cam and any of the other camera settings that I have. Or the Ableton one. I believe the Ableton one was the one where you would notice it the most. Or at least that is where I would notice it because that is the main one that I often have. But now the volume should be stable between these two scenes here. So let me know if that's the case. I think for Bitwig it's nicer to have the camera up here, which is my Reaper setup as opposed to the Ableton setup. In Ableton it nicely moves into where normally the like sample browser and stuff like that is. But with all of the different DAWs, they all have different places for the camera to be. Hey, why is the chat not working for me? Why is the chat not updating? I can see that I'm getting people in the chat here in OBS. Aha. There we are. Sasha, welcome. I'm going deeper. Yes. I'm back in a few minutes. Isaac, welcome as well. MindB. ZYNC. I don't know if you're still here, but you were here in the offline chat before the stream. Okay, so what I want to do is, as I said, just mess around. I guess there's a whole bunch of things that I haven't gotten to in the grid stuff that we saw in the other stream. So it might be nice to maybe do some sound design with that, see if we can get some cool stuff done. I guess the best way to do that is to quickly get a kick and try to make a bass line inside of the grid. See if there's some interesting things that we can do with that. One of the main things, of course, that I need when it comes to these test streams is a reason to actually switch to Bitwig. A thing that properly improves my workflow and just makes me faster, makes me better at writing music. Because otherwise it doesn't really make sense to change DAWs, right? If you change DAWs, there's a cost to that in that you lose a lot of time that you could be using writing music into like actually learning the DAW. So that time needs to be made up for in some way. So what I want to do is I want to see if there's some cool things that you can do maybe in the grid that allows me to actually, you know, speed up my workflow in a way. I am losing everything here. Show mixer panel, show detail editor panel. Automation editor panel. Where is the... Ah, here. I'm so used to just being able to press a button and it playing or using... Yeah, there we are. Some people have noticed that there's some weird stuff going on with the sub on this kick drums. And I have not noticed that. They say like after a few playthroughs the sub starts to sound weird. I guess it sounds like there's a little bit of a click towards the end here, in this particular case. Maybe that has to do with the volume going down too quickly here. But that's strange. Now it is gone though. Yeah, now we're getting a clean kick drum. Okay. I hope everything is working now. It's not like distorted or anything like that. I see some people leaving, so I'm a little bit worried that the stream viewers went up and then it went down again. That's usually an indication of something not exactly working the way it should be. But that may not be the case. Okay, so I believe this is the grid here that allows me to build your own instruments, essentially. So now we should be able to make a bass line then. We have, what's this? Mod wheel, expressions. Can I open this up? Union and ADSR. I guess this is just generating a saw wave now. Yes, okay. So let's start like that. Then we would need a filter. So filter. Does it matter which filter we have? I guess just the starting low pass will be okay for now. We're gonna go with going through the filter first and then through the ADSR. So like this. I guess this is the output module. Yeah, audio out here. Very resonant. Okay. Then we need an envelope that we can edit going into here. I guess this is the amount, right? Okay, this doesn't seem to re-trigger, which is annoying. Oscillator. Can we get a re-triggering saw wave here? Re-trigger on device incoming nodes. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, so I don't even need this then. Knock my earbuds. Was the kick too loud? I'm sorry. If the volume of anything is off, please let me know early so that I can change it. Have you watched tutorials on how to understand how things work in Bitwig? I haven't. I haven't really watched tutorials, partially because I find watching tutorials for stuff that I don't use fairly boring, because I'm the kind of person that when I'm watching a tutorial, I'm immediately implementing things. Right, so I'd like to have a tutorial that is on a second monitor so that I can immediately start working the things that I learn and actually learn faster in that way. But also I don't really have a lot of time to dedicate to this kind of stuff. I'm continuously editing. I am in fact I was editing like half an hour ago, and then I quickly set up the stream. That is the reason why the stream was a little bit chaotic at the start as well. You can use segments to use more precise envelope. Okay. But yeah, so all of that stuff, the envelopes, this tip for the segments, that kind of stuff is not something that I know because I haven't watched tutorials. I haven't done any of that. Also, I want to get the first user experience, right? I want to basically be thrown in the deep and see how well the DAW assists me into learning the DAW itself. So I guess you can change it here as well. Does it keep the settings then, or does this change the settings? It does change them. But this is more like the LFO that I'm used to from... sorry. Alt? Yeah. Alt for the curvature from Serum, the way that I'll make my baseline. And then this is going to be a 16 note. Doesn't really sound stable, does it? I minimized it there. What is the... I guess it's double click, but is there a keyboard shortcut for MIDI? Or to make clips? I want lower velocity on this thing here. Not that it matters for now, but we'll set it up later. I love the modular approach they took to sound design. I still don't know if its workflow is great or not, but it sure looks fun. When it comes to this modular stuff, my opinion is that I feel like this is the kind of thing that you can spend hours on without actually writing any music. Right? You can try to make the best possible bass patch in this over and over and over again, because there's so much stuff in here. There's so many different little things that may influence the way that like the sound that you're creating work. And that is really cool, but it's not really productive, if that makes sense. And I'm looking for a way that I can write the music that I want to write the quickest. And I don't know if Bitwig allows you to do that. I'd like to set up SideScope now. Let's make an audio track for that. And then we need this audio track to take input from our kick drum. Post, of course. And then we need another audio track that will send the bass line into Audio 1 SideScope. Do I not get to choose the input here? How do I send stuff to a sidechain input then? Show plugin sidechain. Ah, over here. Post. Then I guess this track isn't needed. Wait. Why is this not working? I have its input set, or does it need to monitor in a way? I guess it needs to monitor. Okay. Can I monitor without like this maybe? Yes, perfect. Okay. Let's move this down a couple of dB. Let's go like, I guess, as my default ones. How can I not type here? Add automation, no. There was also, here. -8 and then -9 on this. I guess it should be a good sounding transient, but it really isn't. Yeah, you can get stuck tweaking things for sure. yeah, at the end of the day, that's not what you want. You want to be writing actual music that sounds good, not spending hours and hours of time on a patch that you may end up not even using or something like that. It has happened to me before where I just dove into a patch head first. Like say a how would you I guess like VCV rack, that those kind of things, they tend to do that for me, where I go into it and I'm doing all of this cool stuff, but I end up not using the patch because it's not really the sound that I had in mind. If you know what I mean? Okay, I want to change the phase of this thing. Phase. Bend, pinch, reset, phaser, scalar, reverse, warp, octave, counter, format, mirror shifts, and mod, split. How do I just set the phase of this thing? I guess there's tooltips down below here, right? Pulse level, saw level, triangle level. Re-trigger on notes. This is like locking the phase, I guess. But how do I determine the starting phase here? It's the phase button on enable smoothing. I want that off, yeah. I mean, that's already closer to what I want. This is cool, that you get to see stuff like that. I do wonder what the input signal is though, because I don't believe I've set up a microphone for this. You can press F1 when the device is selected to get a tutorial to pop up that is tweakable. Okay. Retrigger on notes, retrigger in logic, triggers restart of the oscillator phase, phase in. Aha, we have phase over here. Do I need to activate it in some way? Offsets the oscillator's phase. Why is that disabled then? Stereo detune, detune, pitch ratio, key tracking, the wave shape and the levels. Okay. Signal out scales the module's output from roughly -1 to 1, which is what we want. We want it to be bipolar because this is just our audio signal. Okay. So say that I turn up the phase. Why is it not... Why does this look inactive here? Or do I need to set an input first? Yes, and any changes made in the tutorial screen translate into the device. Okay. Okay, now I need to know how to turn it on here, I guess. Do I need to give it an input? Phase in. Gate in. I guess I just want the notes then, just like a value. Transport playing. This will always be, if it's playing, it will just always do it. Okay, so that gets us close to where I want to be for the phase here. Now we need to do the phasing, which is done with filters. I hope they have like an all-pass filter in here. With 15 configurations. Bandpass, high pass, low pass, notch, high pass and low pass. No, that's not what I want. This is one of those variable filters. Delete. Salon key. This is also high pass, band pass and low pass. Nested filter circuits that can sparkle, shimmer like a phaser or bump. Filter that adds brightness around the cutoff so it can scream or whimper. Hyperresonant circuit for playful feedback, subharmonics, or even distortion. Okay. No all-pass filters here? Maybe a value module on the phase input. I think I got it with the transposition, but let's explore what the value module is. I'm assuming you know where that is. Ah, here, constant. That should do the trick. That should just always give me a 1 here. And now I can use that to set the phase however I want. Okay. This is all wave shaping. Delays and effects. Delays. All pass. Here. Perfect. Okay. So through a series of all pass filters, can you like duplicate it by holding Control? Yes, you can. I believe we can do this, 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 and then this. Okay, so that's way too long. In theory, an all-pass filter shouldn't delay everything. Okay, so this is not what I want. This is not going to give you the kind of phase shift that I was after. Well, I guess we could build a multiband crossover, but that's not something that I really want to do. Is there no multiband crossovers already coming in here? Mix, maybe? Mixer. This is for mixing stuff together more than separating it, I guess. Split here. Ah, this just splits up a signal into multiple parts. I have all pass filters and I'm using 5.1. I am using 5.1 as well. About here. 5.1.8. It's not the newest version. I believe the 0.9 came out recently. There is like a all pass in here, but this doesn't do the kind of filtering that I wanted to do. I only have the Bitwig 5.1.9 and I don't have all pass filters like version 5.2. They're only available in version 5.2. When did Bitwig 5.2 come out then? Because I downloaded this demo recently. Compressor plus here. Let's see. I can just see the upload date on YouTube. 4 weeks ago. Oh yeah, that can be the case. I guess I'll update that after the stream. I don't want to update it right now. If we don't have all pass filters, we can do the same thing with a multiband split, if that's available. Assuming that I don't have to build that. That would be nice. Ah, it's in beta. Okay. You could try using phase in modules with a blend pitch module into the phase input of the oscillator. Don't know if that will create a dispersion effect. I guess we can try. Can I delete the cable doing this? That doesn't really seem to do much. Pinch. I don't think that does much. Does someone know something about the real-time collaborative mode they have been talking about for a while? I have no idea. I think 5.2 added the multiband split module for the grid. I'm just a little bit too early, I guess. Phase in module before the band in the I/O. Phase in. Pinch. And then into here, you say. It just moves it forward. There's some cool stuff happening, but it's not exactly what I was hoping for. Because it's applying it to the whole phase. We want to phase out individual harmonics, right? So that it's not exactly what we're looking for to do here. Oh, it is shift holding it to get really tweaky with it. Okay. Okay. Dang, yeah. Might be, it's not right to say that there's no all pass in Bitwig 5.1. When I take a picture and show you, there it is. Okay. If you have a picture, I would love to hear where the all-pass filter is. There's the all-pass delay effect over here, which doesn't seem to be doing what I wanted to. If you're referring to that, that is something that we tested before. But having an all-pass filter in actual filter form that just alters the phase by the 180 degrees rotation at the filter cutoff and nothing else, that is exactly what we're looking for. Here. Either that or multiband crossover. They both do the same thing at the end of the day in terms of their phase rotation, which is the only thing that we care about. But if that's not the case, I could just build a multiband crossover filter, I guess. Because that shouldn't be too hard, I believe. Like, of course, I'm not a plugin designer, so I don't exactly know, but I think just setting the filter cutoffs of both of them equal, maybe through some way of modulating them together with like an external knob or whatever. That could be cool. Is there like a module of grid inside of the grid so that I can build it inside of another module and then just duplicate that module over if I need to? Comment label by spectrum view value readout. That's nice. That can be useful. Sidechain. Data. Probabilities, triggers, steps, slopes. There's a lot of stuff in here. There's a whole logic stuff next to it as well. You could make a Turing machine if you wanted to, probably, in here. Value mod out, IO selection modular out. Modulator out. Okay, so this gives me an output. I assume that the stuff on the left means that it's going into the module, and the stuff on the right means that it's coming out of the module. What I would like to have is maybe like a container that I can build a crossover or multiband crossover filter in. That's what I meant. I didn't know it was for delay. I guess technically this is an all-pass delay of some sort. I don't... Yeah, all-pass filter configured as a delay. That's not exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a traditional all-pass filter, which is just doing a 180-degree phase shift onto the filter cutoff frequency, and it rolls off in both ends without any changes to the spectrum. Correct. So you value knob mod out, and then you map it to the cutoffs of a low pass and high pass filter. Okay, let's get our, I guess, these filters or this thing over here, because here we can set the slope as well, which is useful. Okay, let's duplicate this over and set it to an equal high pass here. Go both down, and then modulator out, up and up. Okay. Now I need a way to edit this thing by, I guess, like this. It doesn't really matter that it's not instantaneous, I guess. Okay, then we need the things to go through here. I want to split it up, and then I want to mix it together. Let's put this here and here. And then I want to mix it together again. Mix. Blend 50-50 of these two things. Does it only ever zoom into that middle over there? That's annoying. Theoretically, if I've done this right, we should now have a crossover filter. I mean, technically I've done this right, but it's much lower in volume, which is not okay. I guess we need to add 6 dB to it again. Which I guess is this thing over here. Or this allows it, yeah, allows us to add 6 dB to it. Okay. Set the limit of the filter in the expector to 0 dB. They sound much better, so. Q limit 0 dB. I wonder what that changes. I have no idea what the Q limit is. Can I type in here? Why would you not be able to type in here? Why is it... Okay, holding shift you can get there. I have no idea what that does actually, the Q limit. Is that even Q limit, or is that like a... what do you call it? Like a looking glass, a zooming glass, I guess. What's the name? Makes the filter more hot, I would say. I mean, that's not really a technical explanation of what that would do. It's like a clipper, so it clips the Q resonance. Okay, so the thing that we just did absolutely nothing to the sound. Which is kind of what I would suspect, because this is referring to the Q, which we have set at 0% here. This is why you need to know your technical details, guys. Because otherwise you just say stuff. The cool thing, I guess, what we can do now is we can have the segments after our phase shift. Theoretically. There must be a way to build that. No, because then the post stringing will still get into the next transient. Northwest, how are you doing? I think it limits the volume of the self-oscillation of Q. Yeah, that makes sense. That's actually a nice setting to have that. That's actually useful. I like how they take certain things and implement like useful variations of them. Let's see. I'm almost tempted to say it like there's maybe a very convoluted way of using the segments and all of that stuff to introduce phase shift before your final amplitude envelope, which is this thing over here. Like right now it's after it, right? So the phase shift is happening after the envelope, which means that we're post-stringing into the transient, technically. Right now, with the amount of phase shift that we're doing, it's not there yet. But if you add 2 more of these filters, then it would be. There would be a convoluted way of doing it if we had 2 envelopes and we would switch for each node between them, which one it would use. Let's see if we can set something like that up. Essentially what I want is for every node trigger. Ooh. Let's move this over here and over here. I guess I can just duplicate over these things, because this is really the thing that I actually want. Oh, but without the connections here. Let's move this down for now here. So essentially what I would need is in input the gate. Supplies noise gate signals. Perfect. And then I would need like a counter that steps through it. Goes to 1 and then the other. 1, the other. 1, the other. Is essentially what I need. Or just route the mixer to envelope and envelope to audio out. No, because then the signal will keep playing. And then once the envelope opens up again, the same signal comes through. What you need is 2 alternating envelopes, so that the stuff that is still playing from one envelope actually gets cut off by virtue of the other envelope being the one that lets through the node. Otherwise, yeah, you would just put this after the mixer, but that doesn't work. Because when the mixer then, or when the segments then opens up again for the next node, there's still a signal playing. Unless it flushes this, the whole signal once a node stops playing, but I assume that that doesn't work like that, because that would cause more issues than benefits. I essentially need like alternating gate, I guess. We have a latch in here. Two latch. Isn't that what I need exactly? I guess not. Ah, this is an RS latch. There we are. I got it. Do you see how it's alternating between which segment is playing now? If we now send this to both of them, and then send both of them to the output by mixing the output together in a blend again, I guess. Wait, is it the blend that lowers the volume? I guess it's the blend thing that lowers the volume then. In this case, yeah, that makes sense, because the blend is taking one output that is 0 dB, because we're alternating segments, of course. Automatic groove generator. Okay, that didn't work either. I think I just have to use the blend and then again add 6 dB to that. Or can you use the mixer? 1, 2. I guess the mixer works fine. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to duplicate this. This is no longer set to anything, right? Perfect. Okay. Let's move this to the secondary path here, and then we can take this whole thing and move it under here. Meaning that we can take these outputs and throw them in here. And this is just for baseline, guys. This is just simple baseline processing. Here and here. And now by setting up this modulation here and here, we should have control over... Hey, wait, why is this being modulated also by this? Yeah, I don't want you to modulate anything on these filters. I want the filter modulation to, of course, be independent. So one of them is controlling one filter and the other one is controlling the other filter. It looks completely clean to me. Mixer can receive more inputs. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. It's like essentially a grayed out knob here that you can use to create another channel, which is cool. That's interesting. What I would like is I would like to put this whole part, I guess, this and this into a box and just have the control thing over here visible? Like, can you put a grid inside of a grid? Is essentially my question here. When you have selected a modulator and you want to remove all set modulation, just double click the thing you want to reset. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's working. Perfect. Let's say I wanted to build this whole thing inside of a grid. How would I do that? So that I can just plonk down multiple like versions of the same one block, as opposed to, because now I have to duplicate over this, I have to duplicate over that, I have to set up all of the modulations and all of that stuff. I don't really want to do that. So is there a way that I can put or create, use the filter and put it in a grid in and of itself that I can then load up within this patch, I guess, over here? Yes, in a sense, grid has internal containers. Okay. A container. Effects, node effects on the device panel. Okay. Node effects. Yeah, this, I don't node effects or effects. You could, instead of creating gridception. But I want gridception. I want that. I want it in here. I don't want it like outside of the patch. The whole point is that the phase shift needs to happen before the amplitude envelope, which is this convoluted setup over here. So you could put another grid device in that container. In here. It doesn't find it. Or do I need to polygrid into a polygrid? Because this is the polygrid, which is the instrument version, I guess. Polygrid here. Yeah, no, it won't let me. Ah, with the delay, yeah. There's a little bit of delay on the stream, so you guys are giving me a lot of interesting tips and stuff like that, which I really appreciate. But sometimes it just comes on late. I usually, when I do these streams, I can write out the whole chat log, so I can go back through the stream, watch it later, and have the whole chat with me, and then I see like all of the tips that you guys give me. But you guys are essentially reacting to what I am doing a minute ago, I guess. No, inside the grid you can't. I misinterpreted what you wanted. Okay, that's very unfortunate. I wouldn't know of a way then how to like do that differently. I guess you just have to manually link all of these together then. Let's make some space here. You can essentially set up a chain of these. Move this a bit here. Here, this is going to look very ugly, but it will have to do. But in parallel, you can put macros like, just like instrument racks in live in the device and route macros from outside to inside modules. In my opinion, it is better to make it in an effects grid. So you can create a cover to the grid. Why is everyone speaking about this phase stuff, wasn't it there before? I mean, we're doing phasing on the baseline. That we're doing an essential part of baseline creation here, which is the phase processing of the bass, the phase between all of the harmonics, which is what I'm trying to implement here, which I'm succeeding in. It's just that there's better ways of implementing it that Bitwig doesn't allow for, because there's not really any container that you can put in here. I just have to like manually copy paste a few versions of this after each other. Here, and then here. I guess this can be closer. Of course, I'm trying to stay organized in here, but it's hard, as you can see. And then here, disconnect these two to there. And then all of this mess goes here. 4 filters should be enough for most processing that people tend to do. Why is it not? It needs to be like this, of course. As you can hear, we get phasing. Okay, so now these guys need to go. And we need to make a second one of this, which for some reason pushed everything away. This goes here and here. Nice, and then this one goes here and there. Okay, Sidetrans baseline with processing included, I guess. Whoop whoop, hello. Davey, welcome, welcome. But to your point of gridception, you could make an effects grid that is basically audio in a module. That is basically audio in module, filters, mixer, audio out module. And you would put them in the effects container of the original polygrid device. Okay. It isn't exactly what you wanted. Yeah, the whole reason why I wanted that is because all of this processing and all of this stuff has to happen at generation stage. Right, I can make a multiband splitter in here very easily. In fact, I believe it comes with multiband splitter, right? So I have a multiband splitter right here that I could technically use for my multiband splitting and all of my processing. The whole reason why we had to build it in the first place in here is because I want the multiband splitting to happen before the amplitude envelope, but after the filter envelope. So that's the whole point. Because what that means, if we go back into our size scope here, is that this baseline, even though we're processing it currently with 4 filters, isn't bleeding into the transients. Do you see? It's going to silence here. And with any configuration of phases in here, with any configuration of this XY pad over here. Oh. I would like to move it. There's never a situation in which you get it to bleed into the next bass note. Which is of course very powerful for sidetrans, because that means that you can basically set up the processing however you want. Get the exact style, the exact characteristic of bassline that you're looking for. And you don't have to resample, you can do melodies, that kind of stuff. But the generation stage is what you decided to be, right? If at the end of the effects container you put envelope modules, it is still all inside the poly grid. Okay, that can be the case. I guess this... We can try that, yeah. So let's get an effects grid here then. And can I just copy over this? Yes. Nice. We give it this. And now I just need to set up a modulation for this, I guess. A macro. Macro. Here and here. Right? Yes. Okay. So now we need another effects grid then. Which is going to be our amplitude envelope. You need to hit OK here, otherwise it leaves. Which is this whole thing, essentially. Oh. I guess the reason why I was scared is I was scared that stuff like this trigger is not going to work. But maybe it just does. Maybe I don't need to be scared of anything. And then this over. I guess that was what we had before. Basically. Right? We had it coming from like down below here. The audio, but this is it. And that means that I can delete this. Then. And all of this. And it will just automatically snap to the next thing. Let's see if that survived what we were trying to do, if it's still working the way that I wanted to. Okay, let's go to the bass part here. That seems to still be working. And now, yeah, you can just duplicate this over if you want. And set up the phase however you want. That's interesting. MIDI is through everything. MIDI through any device. I just wondered this whole chain is necessary. Rumble Channel does a video with the new way of creating bassline, and he uses a simple filter, a simple all-pass filter which has no phase issues. I'm not the best at giving tips. I don't know. Maybe you can check out that video later. I think I've seen part of it. Of course, as the guy that has a 3.5-hour course online here on YouTube, there's few things that I don't know about creating basslines, and that was the reason why we were looking for an all-pass filter before. The thing that you said about all-pass filters is true in that it generates a phase shift between the harmonics without actually changing anything else. I don't think our setup should change anything else either. It should just be a phase shift. So essentially this is equivalent to an all-pass filter, what we have created here. The whole point of my patch is that I am doing this without needing to resample. If I don't have this over here, and I go to layers and maybe exaggerate the problem a little bit. Let's see if I can make this longer and longer. I guess I can just add a few more. At some point, we should get massive bleeding. It is happening. Yeah, there we are. So this is the issue, right? Stuff that is playing, that should be playing over here, is starting to play over here because of the phase shift. That is the issue that you dive into with phase shift. And that is the issue that this rack is solving by virtue of using different amplitude envelopes and stuff like that, I believe. I might need to test this more if this is actually working now. Because we're essentially turning off segments after it, which is wrong. Wait, this doesn't work. This doesn't work now. Because what is happening is it is still bleeding into base transients because the signal doesn't actually turn off here. It's just the envelope. And then the other envelope turns on and it just leaves the signal through. So this the thing that we just didn't really fix anything. We don't have that all-pass module currently in this version. Yeah, exactly. I don't have the beta. I am just running the demo, as you can see here. Let me just quickly delete some of this stuff. Here and here. Let me bypass this and let me think. We would almost need two synths then that are alternating, which is not the solution that I wanted to go for. What I'm essentially trying to do is some experiment that I did a long time ago in M Sound Factory already, where essentially by having two bass chains in parallel, you can alternate for each rolling bass note between the two notes, and then all of the post-trending bringing generated by that note will be cut off. But in this case, both envelopes use the same signal. So it's not like we're carving out signals. It's just like, okay, one envelope is going to let the signal through, another envelope is going to let the same signal through. Right? So the post-stringing isn't actually being stopped in any way. It is just switching which envelope lets the post-stringing through, which is not what we wanted. We wanted to actually stop playing the whole post-stringing part, which would mean that essentially you would need to generate everything twice, as opposed to just this part here, the envelope part. In this case, we can, I mean, we can keep the envelope part in here at the end. If I just go like, but that just gives us this. Oh. Essentially, we just need like a segment like this, which is the amplitude envelope. And then what we do is we create a group out of this whole thing with Control G. And then I would need to duplicate this. So we have two versions of it, and I would need to alternate which note triggers which. Then it will work. Oh, projector and chat, this is Novice here. Or just add an envelope to every filter effects grid. But it doesn't really solve the problem, I guess. The problem is when you have an envelope, it's just applying some math to it, right? So we have this, I guess we call it our box. This is where the signal is going to come out from. And this is, the signal that comes out of it is like a certain amount of length here. And then there's a bit of post-stringing after it, which we don't want. What an envelope is going to do is it's just going to multiply this whole signal with a certain shape. And in our case, a shape that specifically takes off that post-stringing. So we cannot really use another envelope here, because if we open up another envelope, whatever envelope that we're using, in our case we were using that like dual setup that looked really cool, but essentially just made the envelope do the same thing twice. It's going to open up the envelope again, and then it's just going to let through our problem. Right? We need to make sure that the post-stringing actually stops here. And the way that you do that is by not having an envelope here, taking this whole thing, essentially, taking this whole signal thing here, and duplicating it over here, such that this part is, I guess you duplicate it in a way that in time they're playing like this, right? So that you have one node that is playing over here in this point in time, which is controlled by an envelope, and then you have a next node playing here, which is controlled in time by a different envelope entirely, and all of those processes are separated. Drawing with projector again. Yes, I'm letting my artistic side through. It's not something that I often do, like being creative on this channel here. But sometimes the artistic side of me comes up, and I like to draw a little bit. It's strange that I never do any art stuff here. Anyway, so what that would mean is we would... Oh, no, we can do that easily. We just use the setup that we had before. What did we do? We had like logic in here. Yeah, we used the latch gate here to trigger different nodes. The only difference is going to be that this one has to be inverted. Now you can see the nodes are alternating here. Do you see that? In the volumes. I don't know how easy it is to see. But it is alternating nodes, in theory. Maybe there's a way that I can... Polygrid post. Yeah, we can see just half of the nodes here. So now you can see it's just outputting half of the nodes. Right? Every other node is being done by one, and then every other node is being done by another. Which means that theoretically, we should be able to create a bunch of these cutoff filters here, and then completely cleanly process our baseline. So if I just make 3 for now, and in here I go macros on all 3 of these. Macro, macro. I can just set up macros for all 3 of them. Can I make you smaller? Yeah. And our output thing. I guess this doesn't need the actual thing in there either. And this doesn't need that either. So this goes fully up for that one. This one goes fully up for this one. And this one goes fully up for that one. And now we just duplicate that idea over here by going up, up here, and up here. And this should this should give us a nice process baseline with this thing in here. Yeah, you can see the phase shift happening. Of course, now we do still want to see the whole thing, I guess. One of the things we haven't implemented is velocity control. Let's do that. Let's set a FX grid here. Okay. And then all we really need is to have like a, what do you call it? A VCA. Are there VCAs in here? I guess just a multiplier, essentially. Volume is low compared to mic volume. Okay, am I hitting maximum volume though? No. It's because I have my master lower, I guess. Let me see if I can... I can add 6 dB to that. ONS. I have no idea what that means. It's giving us a signal, which is what I want. I just need a multiplier. Multiply. There we are. We just multiply the input signal by the velocity. And then give us a volume control to compensate. There we are. Velocity. Velocity control. Nice. I guess I want this a bit lower. That's a bit too low. There we are. Now the length should be longer again. Nice. I've come from live and I've been testing the grid these past 2 weeks. I've to say I'm very impressed. Managed to recreate autoplay. That's nice. You can search in grid. I actually knew that. I should use that more. It's stuff that happens to me all the time. I forget that there's a search option here and I just go looking through all of the menus that are in here. It happens to me in Ableton too. Ableton is of course essentially built around its search function. The way that the whole browser, you can basically search anything in there. And I guess in Bitwig it's the same, right? With this search over here. So yeah, I should really use that more. So anyway, we have a cool bass patch now. Are there a few extra features that I would like to implement? Maybe like I guess the cool thing about this whole thing is that you can just drop an EQ in here. Ah, no, you can't. No, because there's 2 different instruments here. So if I wanted an EQ, I would need to take the EQ. I guess you could test your EQ after it. What a terrible spectrum analyzer. Why does it look like that? It cannot be the case that that is the actual spectrum of this. I want a little bit less 500 Hertz. And then I do want a nice high. Not really getting any click out of this, are we? I cannot even change this now. Let's set both of them to 100% and assign that to a macro, because this is the kind of thing you would want to be able to change as well, right? Okay, 100%. Let's add a macro here to alter this by not even 90, maybe like 20, and then the same in the other one, minus 0.20. I thought it was minus 20. Like this, yeah. It's not like there's some smoothing still applied somewhere, right? In this one either. I don't think there is any smoothing that I'm doing. Now the patch has become so complex that I have no idea what is actually happening. Sorry. I've got my own autoplay 2 in the grid. I mean, that is very nice. Did you make the kick in the grid as well? No. No, I'm just experimenting with bass stuff today. I'm not trying to do anything too crazy. For the kick, I just used the kick drum plugin that I like to use here. Audija. Took a while to close. Browse through the manual like RTFM. RTFM. I have no idea what that means. Read the fucking manual. Oh, yeah. I mean, when it comes to like reading manuals and all of those things, the reason why I'm doing this stream is to test out if Bitwig will be an upgrade in my workflow. If I have to sit here half a day reading a manual, then that's definitely not an upgrade to my workflow. And everybody says like Bitwig is so intuitive, Bitwig is so easy to use, so I wanted to test that. If I were to read the manual like you suggest, then what test am I exactly doing? I'm just going to sit here and already know everything that I need to know. If you're already an expert at something before you begin something, then of course everything is going to be easy. You can probably change the view of the EQ. Let's have a look at that, if that's possible. Has Spectrum Analyzer settings. Oh, here, yeah. I have to get used to not everything being like near the plugin, so that there's options of the plugin that aren't necessarily tied to where the plugin itself is. Okay, and I want a tilt of 3 dB, just standard stuff. We're not necessarily getting a proper transient out of this. If I have to do this to hear the transient, then there's something a little bit wrong, I think. Guess we can have a look here. Why is the transient different from the left and the right side then? There is something happening that makes one of these different from the other. %100% on that. You can see it alternates transients still. Like the phase is different between the two. Like there's a slight difference in phase. If I exaggerate it, obviously you can see the effect more. But if I try to set both of them to 100 exactly. Oh, now it's there. Perfect. Okay. You could just use good old M equalizer. The whole point is that, yeah, of course, that is true. But I like being able to open up an EQ quickly and like edit it in here without having to open up another plugin window. That is what you'll also see me do in Ableton a lot. Right, my main concern is is stuff fast? Can I quickly work in it and get the results that I want? And right now, I'm on the fence if Bitwig is actually better at that than Ableton. Ableton is really fast. Like I would like to copy over this EQ, for example. Copy. Control C, Control V didn't work. Paste. Paste. No, not that. Command click to type values. Ah. Yeah, I should probably not type values again. I'd love it to be double click, but that I don't know if that's gonna work. If there's an option for that. Oh. Oh. Okay. What? So it duplicates it over, I guess, to where it already is. And if you move to a different chain, it doesn't actually duplicate it, or it doesn't actually put it on the different chain for you. Okay. This is our envelope and this is our velocity thing. Yeah, velocity thing is outside the thing. And then here we have two EQs. Is it now messing up again? It's messing up again, isn't it? Yeah, it's alternating again. It just has a different phase for some reason when you actually match them. There we are. There's apparently two 100% settings on here for some reason. What do you think about Bitwig so far? It's a nice software where you get to lose a lot of time. In the sense that we just created a baseline from scratch. And it took me 1.5 hours. If I were to do this in M Sound Factory or maybe not M Sound Factory. M Sound Factory is very, very complex. But inside of Ableton, this would take me probably 15 minutes. Now, that being said, I would neither make or never make a bass patch completely from scratch like this, the way that we've been doing it here. I would just go in here, go serum, bam, okay. Just open it up, and then I go in here. I find my preset, and then I select the tonality that I want through the bass table thing here, right? This thing here. I just find a waveform that looks cool, and then I just take that, and that is my sound band. That's the bass line. Maybe a bit more like this. Maybe this isn't the right table here. The bump ones seem very nice sometimes. Sometimes you get a very lasery one, which is not what you want. See, we have the 100. If we go to -100, that should probably be better. Yeah. So this took me 30 seconds, right? So that's something that I can always do. That being said, I think from what I can tell, it feels a little bit slower than Ableton just to write stuff. Many people don't know, I guess, how quickly Ableton really is when it comes to, I guess, like actually sitting down and writing music, right? It is very, very cool that you can do stuff in the grid like this, what we've done this afternoon up until this point. But this will never happen in an actual writing process. And if you are doing this in an actual writing process, then you're not really writing. If you're spending 1.5 hours at the start of a production just working on the kick and bass, you have massive issues, because then you're never going to get all of your creative ideas out there, because you're spending a lot of time on the things that really don't matter. When it comes to being creative, all that matters is how fast can I get an idea that I have in my head into the DAW. And I feel like no DAW does it as good as Ableton does it, with just the speed that you're able to create new ideas and add to new ideas. Grid is powerful but slow. Exactly. Everything that is happening in this DAW is technically better and probably more powerful, but also slower than Ableton. It's all about mastering your DAW. Choose what feels natural for you in terms of UI, UX. Yeah. That's normal when you have worked with a specific DAW for long. You build muscle memory and always adjustment in the tool you're not accustomed to. Part of that is true. Yes, of course. There's a decent chance that my initial hunch of this being a slower DAW is not true. That if I work with it long enough, I can get that muscle memory up. But then comes, first of all, I have not only worked with Ableton, I've worked with FL Studio. I work regularly still with Reaper. So I'm not like the one DAW kind of guy. The second thing is, you need to ask yourself if by switching DAW, you gain something. And this is a hard question, right? This is people like, especially people that use Bitwig for some reason, they are very, I call them the Elon Musk stans of the music production community, because they're very vocal about their DAW being the best, which, to all their credit, it is better than Ableton. Just from a technical perspective, it's a better piece of software than Ableton. It's just better designed. But switching over for me now means that I lose a lot of things, right? I lose all of that muscle memory and all of the organization and all of the plugin folders and all of the little workflow hacks that I've set up in Ableton over, as some people say, like many years of working. All of that muscle memory I lose. What do I gain as a benefit? What makes it that all of that time that I've lost and that I now need to build up again, and that I need to spend not writing music but training myself to use the DAW, to organize my files, to set up my plugin folder, to set up my audio stuff. What allows me to win that time back? You know, that's the question that you have to ask yourself for switching DAWs. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just hop around from DAW to DAW. That's the same with plugins. There's a lot of people that just get new plugins. I don't. I almost never get a new plugin just for the hell of it. I need to convince myself beforehand, when I'm spending the money, like, okay, this plugin is going to allow you to do that, which is beneficial for your workflow, because now you cannot do that, right? And within that, there is impulse purchases, in the sense that I sometimes buy a plugin. Like, for example, I have the, what's it called? Shaperbox plugin. Shaperbox 3 over here. I have barely used this. But I've purchased this, and it's massively powerful, and there's so many different things that you can do with this. This is almost like a DAW in and of itself, actually, with the amount of crazy modulations that you can do in here. At least it can, if you wanted to, it can completely take over the automation part, or the modulation part of a DAW, I should say. Right? Modulating all of these different parameters, that kind of stuff. This was a little bit of an impulse purchase for me, because I knew that there were things in here that I could do with this plugin that I cannot really do in other plugins. Mainly some stuff that I saw in a Dan Worrell video on this tool, and that was the reason why I decided to purchase this plugin. But since then, I've noticed myself not really ever using those features. So even though I convinced myself that there's things that I could do with the software that I'm spending my hard-earned money on, I still didn't implement it into my workflow, I guess, is the way to say it. It all depends on the used workflow. Exactly. And when it comes to harm in that, or the workflow and that kind of stuff, the harm that it can do, purchasing too many plugins, purchasing too many DAWs, it's the same for, I guess, hardware synths, that kind of stuff, is that it costs a lot of money if you're never going to use it. It's the same reason why I don't own a car. I work from home. I don't really go places outside of Cremona. And within Cremona, I can just walk everywhere that I want to go. And if I cannot walk to the place that I need to go, I can cycle there. Right? Now, I could purchase a car and maybe sometimes get to places where I wanted to go that I cannot go to now. But is it worth the money that I have to pay for a car, the maintenance, the insurance, the gas, all of that stuff, to have that possibility of every once in a while doing that one cool thing? No, probably not, right? If I go out to the sea 3 times during the summer, and I go by car as opposed to going by train, right? Then yeah, my life would be a little bit nicer because I have that car that I can get to the sea a little bit quicker. But the amount of money that you would have to pay for that is immense. It's the same with plugins and DAWs, just on a lower scale. Like, you don't really think about the money aspect of buying plugins if you spend $30 on a plugin here, maybe another plugin is $100, maybe 3 months later you spend another $20-30 on plugins, then you have like a what's it called, the Black Friday sale, where you spend a little bit more. You maybe spend like $200 on a whole bunch of different plugins. Throughout the years, that money is going to really count upwards. And if you can prevent that by just logically thinking about, okay, which tools do I actually need, which plugins are the ones that I'm actually going to purchase and then start using in my day-to-day life, and only purchase those, then that's a great benefit. Then you can save yourself a lot of money, and you can save yourself a lot of time and frustration trying to learn plugins that you're never going to use. And in this case, when it comes to Bitwig, I like it. I like its system. I am just not convinced yet that there is a tangible benefit for me making the switch and spending all of that time trying to learn a new DAW. When, to be honest, I am perfectly happy with Ableton. The only reason why I'm doing this is because so many people recommend Bitwig to me over the years. And that's just because the people that own Bitwig, as I said, they are fairly vocal about the superiority of their DAW. Which again, as I said, I do have to agree with them that it is probably a better piece of software than Ableton. Ableton Live 11 is still my favorite DAW today. Yeah, same for me. With all of the things that I've built up in that DAW, I'm much faster writing down ideas and getting my thoughts into the DAW than anything I've ever tested. I use Shaperbox a lot. It's something that I need to work into my workflow. It's something that I just haven't found. You know, when a plugin becomes really useful, if you find that one trick that it can quickly do that no other plugin can really do in the same way. Take Lufticus. Right, this plugin over here that I've shown sometimes on my channel. This is a really cool plugin that does this 40k high frequency shelf. So you can dial in the air, but you can dial it in a way that you're essentially filtering out a frequency, or you're filtering a frequency that isn't even present in the audio part of the signal, so that the filter bleeds into the lower frequencies that you can hear and brightens them up that way, essentially. For the rest, I never use this EQ. I never put this on any other value other than the 40k here, and I never touch these bands over here. I shouldn't say never, maybe like once or twice I've done that, but I really only use this plugin to brighten up certain elements if they need it. But almost every mix of mine has this plugin in there, right? So this has a very unique purpose for me that only really this plugin does in a certain way, and therefore I use this plugin. It's not like this is the best EQ plugin. As you can see, these are fixed numbers. If I want to boost 2.6K, I couldn't do this with this plugin. I can only boost 2.5K. I cannot go in here and set 8K up by 5 decibels, for example. If you could take a perfect DAW, what would you take from FL, Bitwig, and Ableton? That's a very good question. I like that question a lot. What would I take from Ableton is its timeline and general layout. The plugins down below, that kind of thing. I like its layout more than Bitwig. I'm not really a fan of having a plugin over here. Right, this plugin is over here. And then having its settings be over here on the side, away from the actual plugin. I'd like to always have that like close to the plugin itself, and that is what Ableton does. I would absolutely love to have the grid system out of Bitwig inside of Ableton, but more importantly, it's delay compensation and plugin sandboxing and the stability segments of Bitwig. And then for FL Studio, I would take its effects and instruments over anything. Its instruments are way, way more powerful than people give them credit for. Both Harmer and Citrus are some of the most deep synths you'll probably ever find. And it's really sad that they discontinued the VST versions of both of those plugins. ImageLine did that a couple of years ago. And it's still on their website that they're working on it, that there will be an update, but it has been like this for a couple of years now, that you cannot actually purchase VST plugin versions of Harmer and Citrus and that kind of stuff. If it would be the case, then I would buy them, especially Harmer, because I'm actually like still missing it a little bit, especially now that I know exactly what it's doing in terms of sound design. Harmer GOAT. To be honest, yes. Also Maximus, by the way. There's a whole bunch of different effects that are really good inside of FL Studio. Maximus is like compressor, wave shaper, an everything volume thing. It can do wave shaping. You can set the timing value so low that it can get to doing wave shaping. But also just the interface of the effects are very nice, I guess. I guess I can show that. Wave shaper. Wave shaper. Plugins. Why does it not find... Does it have to be M? Oh, I have to put the M in front of it? That's annoying. Yeah, I currently use this wave shaper over here. This wave shaper... While this is a very good wave shaper, Melda makes very good plugins. A whole bunch of the plugin window is taken up by stuff that isn't the wave shaper itself, the graph itself, which is really the only important thing about the wave shaper, because almost everything else you can kind of do outside of the wave shaper. I guess automatic gain control and the asymmetric mode and DC blocker are nice. But all of this stuff isn't really necessary. The metering isn't really necessary for the functionality of the wave shaper. Like, it's nice to have it in the same plugin, but it's not really necessary. If you go into the FL wave shaper, Fruity wave shaper over here, it mainly gives you the graph, right? There's the same kind of small controls that you have over here. Pre-gain, post-gain, the mix. We have oversampling, so high quality mode. There's probably a DC offset removal. And then here you have asymmetry mode. But the graph is taking up the main thing. If you go in here and you scale this thing up, it becomes bigger. But you can see that a whole bunch of the plugin window is taken up by stuff that isn't always necessary. Now, the people over at Melda know exactly what they're doing, so you can just do like this. But a lot of plugins don't have that. And especially like DAW... I guess this isn't a good example. The EQ isn't a great example, but when it comes to, I guess the way that I should say it is, it feels like the effect UIs and the instrument UIs are better designed inside of FL Studio. And the reason for that, I think, has to do with the fact that both in Ableton and in Bitwig, they have to conform to this standard of being in here, which is For one, I kind of like that they're in there because you're fast. You're not opening windows constantly. But on the other side, I don't really like it because it means that the design is very limited. Like, it feels like the fruity stuff, the fruity effects, and even plugins, as I said, Maximus is the one that comes to mind. It's just a little bit better designed because of the I guess the window that it's allowed to use, that kind of stuff. So really, if I wanted to make the perfect DAW and I wanted to take the combination of the three, what I would probably do is kind of have like, in the same way that you have a full screen over here, or a button over here to pop out the interface, and then you have more options and stuff like that. Not necessarily to have it pop out and take up this region over here, but for it to actually open up like a plugin like this. You still are going to have like some of the controls over here, say for the EQ, but if you want, you can just pop out the EQ window, and then you have it as something that you can move around and that you can edit, and then you get like the full interface where you can make all of the edits that you want. UI design is an art, and so many get it wrong. Have I shown you the funniest example was the one that I talked about during my editing stream with Premiere Pro, how terrible their design decisions are. They have... Can I show this quickly? I guess I can. Because this is actually funny. And after that I'm taking a quick break as well, because it's been almost 2 hours. Here, if I go into a project here... Yeah. So this is a project with 2 different sequences. This is a Conversations with Projector episode that I'm working on. If I scroll over here, it scrolls the timeline. Very nice. If I scroll over here, it scrolls between the projects. But there's no color difference between these 2 bars. So anytime you're like trying to scroll and you want to scroll up here, say that you're zoomed in a lot, right? You're up here and you're quickly just going, oh, I need to scroll. There's a good chance that you go up here and that you scroll to a different project. So this is the kind of design that they're competing with. This is the kind of design that you're going to get from other types of software. Premiere Pro, to be honest, is a particularly bad design that they have. Those are you find those things all the time in Premiere. Like if you have a short, which is a vertical aspect ratio. If you click on the short in the file browser and you click on the thumbnail, it opens it up in the timeline. If you click on the short and you click right next to the thumbnail, you accidentally misclick and you click right next to the thumbnail and not actually on the thumbnail itself, then it opens up a file replacement thing. So you can click on what you essentially think is the same thing, right? I just click on this object to open it up in my timeline, and then suddenly a window pops up that actually doesn't do the thing that you want to do, and it gets in the way of what you're actually trying to accomplish. So it really, when you're editing and suddenly a window pops up for select file, you're like, huh? What did I do? What did I click? And because you're in such a flow when you're working, you're not even initially realizing like, oh, this is what I clicked that's made it cause to open up. And this problem only occurs because shorts are vertical, and therefore the objects or the thumbnails that are used don't cover the whole item. So you can click on an item without clicking on its thumbnail, which is... and the designer looked at that, and the designer probably tested it with like, okay, we're going to test this, we're going to just create our video. They're creating a horizontal video. They never took into account that people would start making vertical videos maybe. Which is okay if this was an issue in Adobe Premiere 2018, right? Then it's like, oh, nobody's creating shorts. A few people are creating some stuff for Instagram, and there's this thing going on that it's called TikTok. It's starting to grow a little bit in China, whatever. We'll keep an eye on it. But if people start really massively using vertical video, which by the way is now the most used video format by a long shot in the world, then you need to at least test if your plugin or if your software doesn't do strange stuff when handling vertical videos like that. I'm going to take a quick break. I've been rambling on for a long time, and all we've really made in these almost 2 hours is a kick and bass. I want to find my file browser here so that I can get... Oh yeah, this doesn't... Here we are. Yeah. I want to put on some music. Just this one. I don't have a lot of tracks from the album, the upcoming album, that I can play, I guess. Oh, I can play the track that is coming out on the 4th of June, which is my track, The Game of Life. I have so many versions of that, I like that. This should be the final master. So I'll play this track, and then at the end of the track, once the track is finished, I should be back, and that will be the break. And then we'll continue, I don't know, doing cool sound design and stuff. I seen your thing, Davey, and I'll respond to it after the break. There's more cool stuff that, or not cool, but there's more things that we can talk about there. Turn off loop before you play. Loop here, yes.
is in the social aspect, where you get to meet people and play them a game and have a fun, competitive game. You do the best you can, but if you don't win, you won anyway. Because when you lose, you win too. Because if you're paying attention, you learn stuff.
It's always a bit of a scare to see if the Stream Deck actually does what I wanted to, but it seems to have worked now. Some brands are totally ignoring new trends, just look at Reason. Yeah, the only thing I know about Reason is that they recently had a little bit of drama where their perpetual licenses, they stopped. They retroactively deactivated perpetual licenses, meaning somebody who has bought the software 2 years ago, thinking that they could always keep using that software, suddenly found out that they needed to sign up for a subscription to continue using the software, even though nothing changed. They just got their license revoked, I guess. At least that is what I heard of the situation. I might be spreading some misinformation here, as I'm absolutely not informed on that. So take what I say with a grain of salt, but that is what I heard about the situation. Kev Human, how are you doing? Welcome back. I think you guys have heard this track so many times, I'm just going to turn it off and we're going to continue. Otherwise it will be out on the 4th, on my birthday, the 4th of June. I guess let's do some sound design on top of this. I want to do more interesting stuff. Oh yeah, I had a question last time, which is, can you make it so that this comes without any text in here? That this is just like empty. You can... It doesn't even allow you to make it empty. Is there a way to like hide names in here? Something like that? So that I don't have... Because the annoying thing is that it numbers them for me. And to be honest, Ableton doesn't have those names, so that is what I like. I like empty clips, I like not a lot of clutter on there. I guess if you zoom out, it goes away, so that's nice. It kind of like fades out, I guess. Yeah, if you get to this zoom level, it fades out. That's interesting. It may have been a little bit too loud on the music before, because I'm boosting it in here. So that just... I guess in OBS I'm turning it down again, right? Yeah. If I just boost 5 dB here now, is the volume better like this? Or is it good like this, between the microphone and the kick and bass here? I guess it's a little bit quiet on my end as well, which I'm turning up separately. But this way I'm not boosting it in Voicemeeter, my mixer program, but I'm boosting it in OBS, my streaming program, which allows me to go into infinity and beyond, I guess. Because it of course shows itself on the stream. Yeah, sound design. Okay, let's try just to do some cool stuff again with the grid, I guess. Polygrid in here. We have an ADSR. Let's remove this And let's see if we can get an oscillator that is capable of doing FM. I guess maybe all of them are. Let's get like 2 sine waves here to start off with. If I wanted to FM one with the other, you would do that through the phase, right? Exactly. Getting a little bit loud, and I don't want any lower frequencies. We're getting some saturation on there as well because it's the channel is too loud now. I think last time I set it to a default of 0, which may be something that I should reconsider here. Okay. Let's say that I want to randomize this amount here. I think the way to do that is to get a random uniform random value generator. Okay. And then I need to trigger that with a gate. I'm assuming that all of these colors are there just to like match, right? So if it's always if it's a yellow, I always need, or it's assumed that I need a yellow input, essentially. Okay, and then from there I want a, I guess, modulator out, because modulators can target parameters here, which is what I want. Okay, cool. It takes a while to get an octave higher this way. Probably a way to maybe hold like a... yeah. Ah, okay, so you can move semitones here and then you just move... or fine-tuning here and then semitones here. If I hold this, is there a way to immediately jump octaves? I don't think there is. Doesn't really matter though, because if you can hold semitones, then eventually you'll just get a feeling for moving the mouse up enough to exactly get 12. Which is what I have now with like Vital. I know there's a shortcut for inside of Vital that you can hold to get octave ups and downs. I just never use that because I've grown accustomed to knowing how much I need to move the mouse in order to get plus 12 semitones or negative 12 semitones. And then from there I can just move up or down as much as I want. There's some cool FM stuff happening. Let's do some filter FM on that. So move this over here so that we have the space. I guess we'll get this filter. This seems to be the one that has the most options. Or is there this? I don't know what the difference is, but does that really matter? All we need is like a bandpass filter for filter FM, of course. Okay, and then we take a... ah, you can right click and then get whatever you want. We take another sine wave here and we send that to the filter amount. Of course. We're getting some cool stuff out of that, I guess, but not exactly what I was looking for. I want something grittier. Maybe getting more of a complex waveform into it. I guess that's kind of what I was aiming for. Let's get a delay on here. It's interesting that you can choose whether the left or the right channel goes first. There's some cool stuff. Try the soft knob and the delay, it's really cool. It has a few modes as well. Okay. Like a coursing effect. It's kind of like a reverbing coursing effect, I guess. Is it? It almost sounds slightly spectral. I doubt they would introduce a spectral engine just for this one parameter here. When you go full screen on native plugins, there is a pop-out button just left of the X in the top right. When you go full screen, there is a pop-out button. Aha! Okay, yeah. So this is kind of what how I would design a I guess a DAW's functionality with the pop-out stuff happening in here. Oh, and then there's the full screen. Another full screen. For some reason, we have two full screen buttons here, which is an interesting design choice. I guess that means that this can also be full screen. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nice. See, now it's actually properly full screen. It doesn't show the Windows bar here. Which I never really like when that happens, because it looks bad in content. You just want to show actually like the full program as opposed to the program and then I guess like a bar of windows down below it. I like that, the feedback thing happening there. Feedback effects. Oh, now it gets interesting. Harmonic split. This is the thing that allows you to split up the highest and lowest harmonics, right? Okay, you guys, you didn't really miss anything. I know there's buffering and connection issues and stuff like that. I guess that just happens every stream now. I remember back when I was in the old apartment, it would happen like maybe once every month when I would stream, but nowadays it feels like it just happens every stream. That there's like a moment where it just disconnects, it just gives up, and yeah, then I don't know if it's just the modem. I do often see that like when I'm downloading like a very large file, at some point it also stops downloading for a little bit. It goes to like 0 megabits and then it continues back. But yeah, now this time it was OBS that disconnected completely. It gave me a notification and everything. I've put my modem outside, technically. So it's time for another drawing. I know you guys love them. My apartment, I think I've shown this before. My apartment looks like this. Right, so you have a room here, and then I'm currently sitting right over here-ish. So this back wall is this wall over here. Right? And then the apartment goes up, and it goes like this. And then over here we have our bathroom. And then I have like a little storage area thingy here, like this. And I guess like this would be attached here, I guess. My drawing skills aren't the best, but then here's the door, and then the kitchen is this. But that means that there's like this hallway in the middle, and this is the stairwell. So this is how I get up to the apartment. But it's like not really closed. How do you explain this? It's there's like glass windows up here, but they always keep a lot of the windows open, especially in the summer, because otherwise it gets really warm in here. So what I used to have is my modem on the window like frame, I guess, right over here. And what I've done today is I've put it on the window frame, but on the outside, right over here. So that would mean that I guess in theory should have a better connection because it's more like in the open part of the apartment. And of course I turned off the modem before going live. I tried to reset it, try to make sure that there's no issues with it, but it just never happens. Draw with projector series when? I do have drawing paper here, but my drawing actually sucks. I have some actual drawing, like good drawing paper, the Italian branded drawing paper stuff. But I'm not very good at drawing. I used to doodle all the time back when I was a kid. I haven't done that in a long time. I don't know why I stopped, to be honest. It is something that I want to maybe get back into, doing other forms of art as well. But right now I have so little time to do that. I would need to get significantly more income so that I can hire an editor that can do all of the editing for me that I need to do on a daily basis. And then I would be able to take time off to do stuff like drawing. Otherwise, yeah, there's no point. I'm not going to end up drawing anything. Okay. I guess this is pretty cool, that harmonic split on the delay here. If I move it before it, it's still part of the effects thing? I thought it had to be there to me. Well, I was hoping that that would be cooler. I guess maybe... Not really what I was going for. I'm looking for maybe more of a spectral effect, which that is supposed to be, but I guess there's maybe more spectral things in here. I'm catching up on the stream, but if you want no clip headers, you have to give a space in the clip name in the inspector. Let's give that a try. So I have to... Aha! Oh, but then I have to go through each... Can you do multiple at once? Yes. Okay, yeah, nice. That looks good. I think we may have figured this out the last stream as well. Spectral category to the left. Spectral. Loud split, frequency split. Okay. Oh yeah, this is cool. Okay. What I want to do with this is randomize the position left and right of that thing. So I want like a random generator. I believe this has, right? Yeah. I can just set this to a 16 note and then modulate this. Not really giving me the clarity that I was hoping for. Can make some cool one-shots with that, I guess. Can re-record from here. I'm so used to automatically getting audio tracks. I want post here, I think. Okay, let's record some stuff. Yeah, technically when you're recording this stuff, you probably don't want to have your delay on here. Right, so you just want... Hey, why is this recording? Ah, because I set it to input monitoring on this thing there, I guess. We would want to have 16 bars so that we can like slowly record some stuff from here. Record. There's some cool stuff. And now you can you just drag stuff in here? Yeah, that's nice. Okay, now I can take our delay. I don't like that if I'm over here, I cannot scroll. I have to move down to scroll here. That is a bit annoying. Yeah, there's some cool sound design stuff at least. And now, of course, you would go in here and take out all of the things that you have, and then yeah, you get your different sounds and stuff like that. Maybe randomize splits as well. I guess that's not really what I was going for. We can see if we can make a sound that is just better with this technique. Can I? I'm trying to close groups, I guess. Yeah, mute this. Close that. Yes, okay. Instrument track. I guess another grid would be fine. What I want to do is... Let's first just test that split, the frequency split here. And let's see what indeed happens if we do what you said. Random here and there. I wish, coming back to that perfect DAW that we discussed a while back in the stream, I wish when my perfect DAW was made that not only did it have all of the features that we talked about in FL Studio and Ableton and Bitwig, but also shift click delete stuff like it is in Reaper. That is really useful. Being able to quickly delete stuff is very powerful. Especially because I make a lot of mistakes. I guess we can do 3 of them here. This is for you. This is for you. So it moves to a random position all the time. And then this is for you. So it also uses a random amount of splits all the time. You can already hear the phasing thing that we're getting from that, but if we move certain things down, we actually immediately get cool sounds out of that. I like that. Probably want it to be a little bit more stereo though. Does this have... Oh yeah, there is the button here. Is there no stereo nicer in any of this? Is this stereo stuff, or do I need to make a second oscillator for it to be like detuned like this? And then have like one in the left and one in the right. I saw something for that before in the mixer. Yeah, stereo merge, I guess. This will be the left channel, this will be the right channel, and we just send that here. Yes. Okay. Cool, cool. Now I would like a gate for that instead of the ADSR. So we take an LFO. Wait, can an LFO not be used like the ADSR over here? Okay, I guess then we need to use a mix here. A mix or a multiplier? A multiplier. Math multiply. We just... That's a bit annoying that it immediately starts playing. I cannot get it to stop now. It needs this in between. Now it works. I use middle mouse to scroll in device panel. Let me see if I can find the chain that is long again. Oh yeah. I mean, it's still not as quick as just scrolling itself. But it's, I guess, a little bit of a workaround. If I have really long chains, that would be very annoying. Because then you would need to grab multiple times, like... and I think chains get very long in here. Because if I do like this, this, this... I had them open all three before. Why is that not working now then? Anyway, let's say that I add like an EQ just for show, right? I want this to be long. So let's say that I add a bunch of different devices. If I want to scroll through all of it, you have to do multiple actions, right? You have to go like up, 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 up. Whereas with scrolling, I guess you have to do multiple things with the scroll wheel as well. I think this is more annoying though. I mean, it works, right? It's not like it doesn't work. So it should be good. But still, it can be annoying. Alt scroll is horizontal. Ah. Yeah, that's nice. I don't like that it's hotkey activated. But I guess it has to do with... Yeah, okay, so this, if you scroll up and down, it's... Or if you scroll normally, it goes up and down, and if you hold Alt, it goes left and right. That makes sense, but it doesn't really make sense to have that in a part which I assume can only be horizontally scrolled through. Like, this doesn't ever become higher, right? Or, I guess, like, or have stuff that is off-screen below and above it that you can scroll through. I think it should only be horizontal, so then I think the default scroll option for scrolling on here should just be that it scrolls. I think it's time for a bandpass filter, and then it should be okay. Thing like this. Filter plus. Does it matter which one you use? Heat. Oh, this comes with some saturation. That's nice. Structural inspired character. Morphing vowels column. Multi-mode filter. Yeah, I just want a bandpass. Ah! The self-oscillation scared me. Okay. 16 notes. Does this not come with sample and hold? Okay. I guess that doesn't really matter in Bitwig, because you always have the random modulators in here, which is exactly what you need it to do. Ah, the LFO is now also working. I guess that's better. We can record the whole range of that if we want to, but we should be able to just freeze it. Is there a way that it automatically makes MIDI clips longer? Not that I want that. But being able to select the MIDI clip length before you make it may be nice in certain situations. Okay, we should be able to, yeah, bounce in place, this kind of thing. Look at that. Does that now include... Oh, no. It does not include any of the filters. Yeah, okay. That's why it's so quick. Then how do I actually freeze this? Bounce? Yeah, okay. There it is. Oh yeah, Control E to split, just like in Ableton. Ah, that's annoying. It only opens up if you press the specific icon over here. If you double click it, it does nothing. Audio. Here. Oh yeah, this needs to be muted, and then this needs to be muted. You have to try the character filters, rasp, fizzle, etc. Okay. How would I do that? I guess I can just take like maybe a few things over here and then try that filter on that. So filter plus is the one that we had. Nested filter circuit that can sparkle, shimmer like a phaser or bump. Okay. There's some cool stuff happening in here. Hyper resonant circuit for playful feedback, subharmonics, or even distortion. Okay. There's some cool dark side one shots. That, I guess that's kind of what you get if you experiment with randomness for long enough. To be honest, at this point, I don't really know what else I really want to do. I guess like an atmosphere could be cool. Let's do that. I'm doing all of this in the polygrid because that is really the unique selling point of a DAW like this. If it has all of that modular stuff in here, then you, I guess, want to use that, right? In a way, you want to use that kind of stuff. I could sit in here and start opening up Serum to do all of my sound design, but that's not really learning the DAW. And that's kind of what I did last time. Zero crossing. They have zero crossings in here. No. They don't go up all the way. Why would you do that? But that's useful. This is the multiband filters that we created before. There's just a module for that. Okay. It's strange that it doesn't go all the way. Like, I would like to have maybe sometimes a 10 kilohertz high band, right? I was hoping for a frequency shifter. Chorus phaser flanger, recorder, module delay, long delay, delay. This is all distortion, saturation. High pass, low pass. These are all of the filters that we saw before. They added some in 5.2. Of course. Everything that I want to do is one update earlier. There's one in here, but that's not really in the live thing. This is just shifting, I guess. Hello? A range of 5 Hz. That's useful. I mean, the range itself is useful to have. But by default, having it open up at 5 Hz is not really. Why is there... How is there still dry signal remaining? Yeah, if I'm shifting it down by 20 kilohertz, there should not be any signal remaining. Especially in the high frequencies that I hear. Why is this not just a normal frequency shifter? By setting it what you want and then right-clicking the plugin. Yeah, I guess that's one of the things that I can do, of course, is go through all of the defaults. But that is one of those things that you would do throughout time if you're actually starting to use this DAW. And for now, I just want to mess around, really. I still want to know why this frequency shifter only works shifting up. Why it sounds so strange. Like, it's not actually shifting everything down, it keeps the highest frequencies high. It looks like. There's some cool stuff. I'm sorry if this gets too resonant. Let me know if it's too spiky or something like that. I guess I can put on a quick reverb to at least wash out the tone a bit. Ooh. That's a very metallic reverb. Have you ever heard the reverb turn into delay? There you go. I got it to become a delay for some reason. That's a terrible reverb though. I was also hoping that the search function would be a little bit better than if you don't start with the same start, it would still find it. Like if you type in reverb, it should find M Turbo Reverb. It does now. Why didn't Turbo? Why does Turbo open up a bunch of samples that I don't care about? Does it have to be capitalized properly? No. It finds M Turbo like that, and it found I think we had another disconnect there. Isn't reverb technically a delay? Technically, it's many, many, many delays, which you can see. I guess this is more the algorithm part. But here, if you go in here, you see the many different delays that you can make. In this case, you can actually edit them in here. But yeah, normally you don't have access to that because all of those delays are tied to the actual parameters that you see over here, which is much better because you don't want to go in there and actually manually set each individual delay. But yes, reverb is essentially just a lot of delays. Am I crazy or are we still getting... Like it sounds almost like there's a slight bit of signal bleeding through the signal chain. Like it's bleeding around it. It's almost like this is a visual representation of what is happening to the signal. Most of the signal bumps into this plugin over here, but some of it passes down and above it. That's kind of what I'm feeling right now. I guess what we can do is do another one of those frequency split things. Frequency split before the frequency shifter. I was hoping we could get some more atonal stuff out of that. Turns out there is some cool automation stuff happening, I guess. Or movement stuff. I was saying like, I guess I wanted to say let's automate that. Today is not a very high energy day for me. I'm sorry if you're here for very insightful conversations, but that's not really going to happen today. It's just me messing around. Not really. Reverbs can be rooms, materials, etc. Delays are like an echo. No, but in a technical sense, a reverb is many, many delays. At least digitally implemented. Of course, we can talk about like a plate reverb and how that is different, but that's an analog device. In the digital world, delays or reverbs are just many, many delays placed on top of each other in such a way that with all of the cancelling and all of the things or all of those delays kind of interplaying with each other, you get like a washed out sound. It's still scaring me. Every time I see some loading on my stream preview, I look over to OBS to see if there's connection issues. I have been haunted for life with the connection of my stream. It is terrible and I don't wish it upon anyone. Stream issues when you're trying to start out your content creation journey. Yeah, it's terrible. Here. Nothing that we did today fits together, but that's that. Why did it stop playing? Just get the new Spitfire reverb. 79,000 IRs included, size 7 gigabytes. I guess, yeah, but that's a convolution reverb. That's not a digital reverb. If you're talking digital reverbs, it's a bunch of delays. Of course, there's multiple ways of doing things. But convolution is a different process than the digital or algorithmic reverb, I should say. Algorithmic reverb is probably the proper term for that, and it just means that the reverb is made out of a bunch of delays. Hello, Guido. Welcome, welcome. Kick and bass is very bright for the type of psytrance that I'm making, isn't it? Also, the BPM is too low. This should be like... If I'm making a dark side thing, it should probably be in D sharp here. this doesn't really have to change, I think. None of the sounds that we've made so far have any form of tonality to them, so that's a plus. Oh yeah, I can't save anything here. Not even default presets. Just kind of going for the standard dark side kind of knock. Not really getting it. I need to get some more pitch out of it, I guess. I know the bass sounds terrible, but the idea that we had is really cool for it, I guess. That's right, we cannot just EQ this, because the EQ is a bit strange in there. But lately also loving to make synth pads with convolution reverb. I should use it more, because there's a lot of cool sound design things that you can probably do in that. To be honest, when it comes to today, I'm a little bit low on energy now. I can feel me lacking a little bit in this last, I guess, half hour. You can probably tell also from just the stream how it's been the last half hour. I didn't really have a plan for this stream. I was just going to be messing around. And I guess one of the things that I've learned is that is not a good approach when you're trying to be entertaining. Yeah, I had planned out like up until like this point over here, maybe mess around a little bit, chat with the people, that kind of stuff. But now I don't really know what else to do. I do have to keep some of my energy because I still have to record shorts tonight. Otherwise tomorrow you guys don't have any content. I have to record shorts. I have to edit long form videos, 4 of them. And then I, of course, also have to edit the shorts for tomorrow. So I have loads of things to do. And I'm already tired. This is going to be a fun evening. I don't know. I wanted to stream this week. I had promised many times that I wanted to like check in between when it comes to streaming. Doing stuff other than just the feedback stream on the Sunday evening. But every time I do, I guess I run into my own issues with the timing and everything that I have planned out. I had planned out for today to record the shorts during the time that I streamed now, but I was like, you know what? I'm feeling high energy today. I think I can make it so that I can stream and then record the shorts in the evening. But that's always a little bit of a hammer. or it's I'm out of energy. You can tell, right? You can see that at some point it's just like over, I guess. I saw humor, and that puts hammer in my head for some reason, and then even the talking just completely stops. But yeah, I thought that like filming shorts after the stream would be okay, and I think it will be, right? But it's not going to be as fun as it normally is. And normally I plan stuff like this in very far in advance so that I can prepare for this kind of stuff. I feel like you may have become the king of shorts, lol. Now that I'm doing 2 of them a day, I do think, yeah, it gets to the point where you get to be really good at making shorts. It still could be better. I could have a better approach to the way that I'm filming things, in the consistency of where I show things and how I show things and how I zoom into things and how I edit things and that kind of stuff. It's, I guess part of that is just me being not very organized in that kind of way. Like I don't have a checklist for shorts, for example. Right, when it comes to short, ideally what you would want is you want to have the same format every time. But sometimes I play the sound at the beginning, sometimes I play the sound at the end, sometimes I explain the whole sound, how to make it, sometimes I explain a neat little trick and dive into a detail on that trick. It partially has to do with what I just feel like talking about the day that I record them. But when it comes to like shorts, I don't record every day for shorts, right? I record 20 of them at the same time. Every 5 of them I switch t-shirts, and then I just post them for the next, in this case 10 days, but then usually that's like 20 days worth of shorts. So normally I maybe record once every 2-3 weeks for shorts. But now that I'm doing double shorts, it's of course half the time. I don't think I can continue doing that. I can imagine it might be pretty hard getting the point across with short time frames. Yes, it is. It is very hard, especially if at the end of the recording process or at the end of the edit, you have this really cool short that you're really happy with, all of the points that you made, and then you get to the final cut, and the final cut says 1 minute 10 seconds. That's when you start hating yourself. Then you have all of the things that you wanted to say, and now you have to start cutting into your own explanation. And you have to say, okay, what is the important bit about the explanation? What are the like slight tangents that I'm maybe running into? What are the parts that where I explain something double, for example? What are the parts where the explanation is technically important, but if I cut this part of the explanation, the flow of the short is still there. There's a lot that goes into it. Me too slow for that. Recording short, it's yeah, you have to be fast. I'm also, I guess when it comes to recording, I'm a bit of a fast speaker, which sometimes means that I'm not very clear when I'm speaking. I guess I am very clear now when I'm speaking during the stream when it comes to this stuff, because I'm a little bit more relaxed and I have a little bit more time. But when you're recording shorts, you are acutely aware of the fact that everything that you want to say has to fit within a minute. So you're just naturally going to speak a little bit faster like this, where you just, want to make sure that everything goes in there and that you have the explanations. And then, of course, a lot of my shorts rely on the intro, where parts of what makes the intro funny is the fact that, okay, somebody says like, hey, do you want to see this cool thing that I found? And then I respond with nope, and that I immediately roll into it and, ramble on from there. That's the bit. That's the funny part about it. It's the at some point people get, I guess, the idea of the short, like, hey, he takes an intro and then it is him coming up. But it's always, I guess, the funny bit that makes every short unique is how do I take the material that I have in the intro and how do I, quickly transition into sound design teaching stuff. You're quite clear in your shorts as well, in my honest opinion. Oh, I mean, I've had some people tell me, speaking about what some people tell me. I forgot. I wanted to show this earlier. But it's the time of the year again, or every couple of months. What I tend to do is get some information from you guys. I had this poll over here, which is in regards to the shorts, actually, in regards to the older shorts. Like if older shorts come back and you see them on your timeline, do you watch them? And if so, or do you not watch them because either you have already seen them or the quality is too low? I kind of don't like these results that I'm seeing over here, because it feels like sometimes people fill in these, like they don't want to say to my face like, oh no, I don't watch your stuff. Oh no, I don't watch your stuff because the quality is too low. Right? They don't want to say that to your face. I get a few percentages here, but now I'm starting to doubt, like, is this a real percentage, or is this just people not trying to vote for this one, and then they'll go, oh, this seems to be a little bit less offensive, and this seems to be a little bit less offensive. I don't know. The other thing that I posted is this over here. There's a few more comments, I think. Maybe like one more comment here. But I think I can link to this short as well, or to this particular post here. Can you not? Either way, this is a post where I ask you guys for feedback. Or can I do it like this? Yes, perfect. Here, I can drop this in the chat. Please consider going into this post and just giving me some feedback. Anything you want, regards to stream, regards to long format videos, regards to short format videos, regards to the second channel that I'm uploading to, the Also Projector channel. For those that don't know, this is where Conversations with Projector has moved to, a series that not really a lot of people like, and as you can see, it isn't doing particularly well in terms of views. Like, it's not really worth it to do this, but I'm just going to try it for maybe 20, 30 more, and see if there's maybe like a few videos that come out that do really well, and if that's the case, I'll continue doing this. Otherwise, it's not worth the effort, and then I'll just cancel the series and whatever. I mean, I still have the streams, so it's not that I'm losing content this way. Yeah, the community stuff is not really seen by every sub. YouTube tends to only show that on the main page and only a few when you scroll. Exactly. This stuff, the main people that respond to this stuff, and not even this stuff, but the normal posts that I do whenever a video comes out, right? Every time a video comes out the day before, I have a post that talks about the title, talks about how long it is. I give a little message in front of it, and then it gives you the description so that people can see, oh, here, this is what is coming up next. I'm 90% sure that this is only likes from people scrolling by their subscription feed, because that's the only way that I can imagine people actually interacting with these posts. I get them very rarely, my own post on my phone. On my phone, I have a different account when it comes to like YouTube and Google and stuff. So on my phone, I don't actually am logged into the Projector channel, so I get all of my own recommendations. I'm essentially my own viewer on my phone. I think at this point YouTube knows that I am also the same person, and they don't really count your views at that point and stuff like that. But I get my own community posts sometimes when I'm scrolling like the main suggestions feed. But like most of the time I also see this in my own subscription feed. And then I realize, oh, hey, wait, tomorrow there's a video coming out. Oh yeah, because I schedule stuff in advance. I schedule stuff all the time. Right now I don't have anything scheduled, but normally there's like 2-3 videos at least that are scheduled to come out later. So I'm always a little bit behind on when stuff comes out for my own channel. So sometimes I see a post like, hey, that video is coming out tomorrow. Oh, okay, perfect. How do you do so much things, lol? Yeah, I have a lot of time to spend, of course. I basically sit here the whole day and work on this kind of stuff. The second thing is that there is passion involved. I really like doing the things that I like, or doing the things that I do. At the end of the day, if you have a passion for something and you want to make that work, you're willing to sacrifice a lot more than if you're working for somebody else. If you are working at a company that is somebody else's passion, right? That your boss or the company owner or whatever, they might work really hard. But for you, if you work 8 hours a day or you work 10 hours a day, they're still at the end of the day going to say like, hey, you have a contract for 8 hours. That is what you're going to get paid. So you're not really incentivized to, I guess, do more than your competitor or do more than your coworker or whatever. But I'm constantly incentivized to do that. In fact, the only way that you're surviving here on YouTube is by doing more than your competition, right? By being more on your mind than all of the other YouTubers that are out there in the world. You guys chose to watch me today as opposed to the other person that is live streaming, or as opposed to that other recommendation that you got in your subscription box, or as opposed to that other short that you could be watching onto the short feed. You guys saw my short. So at I guess by constantly being relevant, by constantly putting out new content, and by doing more and more and more, you're going to get a greater benefit in theory. Now, this is not something that I noticed being real in practice, because I did the thing with the advertisement that kind of ruined my channel for a good month here. But even though I was like posting 2 shorts, I wasn't getting like more views than I would normally was. I was in fact getting less. I want to show this as well, but I have to get rid of revenue data here. If I go here to my total views over the last 90 days, you can see that I was growing hard up until basically this point over here, and then it dipped down again back to where it was before in February. And this is a trend on my channel. I've talked about this before. My channel does nothing other than go up, and I'm like really happy, and I'm like, yay, it's great, it's amazing, yay, 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 and then it just drops, and it goes back to where I was, right? It goes to 2000 again over here, and then this is the day that I'm like, oh shit, and then it starts growing, and I'm like, yay, I'm finally through it. This time the growth is for real. This time the growth is staying, bam. And then here, this time it's for real. This time it's slower. It's more systematic. I'm actually making changes to the content. So this time it has to be good. It has to be good. And then bam, it just drops again. And then yesterday it was, I guess, the start again of the growth. It started going again. I had a short again, like kind of popping off, which is usually an indication that things are going to go well. But at some point, I know that it's gonna go down again, I guess. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to avoid that. So that's why I'm working hard. Is I want that growth to sustain, so that I can make a little bit more money, maybe invest a little bit more into my music career, that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, me working harder has a tangible benefit in that I just get more money, which is not a lot of jobs where that's actually the case. I reached my goal, 100 subs, was not expecting 1,000 anytime soon. Congrats, that's very cool. And you only stream, right? Or do you also do videos? Go to channel. I can see that. Videos. There are some videos. I guess this is the music you make. You don't really do tutorials like I do. Right? Yeah, no. And then here's the live stream. I mean, when it comes to only streaming, getting to 100 subscribers is a lot harder than doing it through video. A live stream gets pushed out by YouTube way less than YouTube videos. So it's a miracle that you actually get to where you are. Tutorials not really, but it's included in the stream. What you could consider doing, just as a test, is just taking the stream clips. And if you're good at speaking, it doesn't even take a lot of editing to do this. Unlike me for the conversations with Projector, where I have to cut every 30 seconds to make it watchable and all of that stuff. But if you're good at speaking, you just take the interesting bits of your stream and upload those as clips, as little videos. And that way, those are actually spreading your stream to new people, because streams themselves don't really get recommended to people. You don't even have to record. You already have the stream. That's the whole fun of the stream. It's content twice. That's what's going to happen to this stream as well. I'm going to take this stream. Once I hit the stop streaming button, I'm going to go into my downloader, my YouTube downloader. I'm going to wait for the stream to be processed and fully finalized. And once that is done, I'll download it locally onto my computer, and then I'll edit it down into Conversations with Projector. All of this stuff that I'm talking about now and that I'm making now in terms of content is going to become content another time. You can just recycle that kind of stuff and get more content out of it. Because at the end of the day, there's going to be people that don't watch your stream but are still interested in the content within it. So you can use that you can essentially target those people, right? You can take your stream, take all of the interesting bits out of it, take all of the interesting parts out of it, and then you just upload those as individual clips, as individual videos. Sometimes maybe you need to give a little bit of context or whatever. But from there, that you build up essentially a easy way to market your stream without actually having to live stream that way. Because your stream, for once, as I said, it doesn't get a lot of impressions, but two, it only gets impressions when you're live, right? Your stream isn't promoting you if you're not really live streaming. People tend to be hesitant to watch a 5-hour stream of something if it's not live. Like, I stream a lot, or not a lot, I stream once a week, but I have streamed a lot. Most of the views that I get on my stream are during the stream itself. Even though, if you look at my latest or my oldest streams that happened 2 years ago, there has been a massive amount of time that people could have potentially watched that stream. But it's slow content, it's a live stream, so people know, like, hey, this is a live stream, this isn't really the kind of content that I would want to watch, right? A live stream is interesting partially because it's live, partially because you get to type in the chat and you get to ask me questions and I get to respond to that, and if something happens, you're kind of part of that feeling as well. Of course, my live stream isn't, I talked about this before, my live stream isn't exciting, it is more informative. But if there's an exciting live stream on there, say somebody's playing a game, and say speedrunning, right? The speedrunning community, if somebody is on a very good run and they, you know, the chat gets hyped up and people start cheering them on, all of that, people get to be part of this kind of event, right? It's the runner, the streamer that is doing the run, that is doing the speed run. Speedrunning, by the way, for those that don't know, is finishing games really quickly. If they get a good run, if they're on the world record pace, or they get like a PB pace or something like that, you can see the whole chat is like, oh, waiting, and then finally he finishes the game, and then they check the time, they have to like time it properly, and then the hype comes or the hype doesn't come. And you're part of an event that way. Whereas with my stream, there's maybe like interesting bits out of it. It's not really an event. Like if we sit down for feedback, it's not like we're building up to a crescendo, right? Where suddenly, oh, everything pays off. It's just sitting there, chilling, listening to music. And sometimes you have the case of like, hey, this is some really cool music coming by. I guess that's kind of the same effect. I think that is one of the reasons why my feedback stream is also more watched than my normal streams. Because it does have that element, at least a little bit of, hey, something cool could happen, in the sense that there could be a cool song that could play that you would otherwise miss. As news producer, it helps as much as a tutorial, if not more. I like seeing the process. I guess, yeah, that's, I guess, more individuals. When I talk about these things, a lot of people, I stopped watching Sequence or Talk, as those streams are just two guys talking to each other and no interaction with viewers, so I wonder why they stream live. Yeah, it will depend on the stream, how good people are at streaming, and how it's a match thing, right? Some people really like that, it's more of a podcast kind of thing. Some people like interaction more. so they'll naturally find the right streamer for themselves. What I wanted to say before in regards to Ryan, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. A lot of viewers tend to think about the whole YouTube game, about the whole YouTube system in individual ideas. I like doing this because I like seeing the process. Not saying that this is a negative thing, but most viewers think about it from an individualistic thing. A lot of the comments that I got on those posts that I referenced before, or that I showed before, where I ask for feedback, is I would like you to make a video about X. I would like you to make a video about this topic, right? When it comes to my interest in YouTube, I am almost purely interested in the collective. Everybody watching me. Because I am at the point in size where I cannot really interact with everyone, right? If I had to sit down and have a chat with every one of my viewers, that would take me a lot of time. If I had to try to find out what the best way is to approach, or the best topic is to cover in the next video, let's say. If I needed to find that out, it would be really hard for me to sit down with each of my 16,300, whatever it is, amount of subscribers, and ask them. So I have to, the difference between when I get like feedback from you guys about my YouTube channel, or when I'm talking to you guys in the stream chat about my YouTube channel, is something very interesting that I always see, in that all of the indications and responses that I get from you guys tend to be fairly individualistic about, oh, I like this, I like it when you do that, I like it when this happens, I like it when that happens. And that is natural, right? And that is also why I ask for feedback, is because I want to hear your voices. But I'm not really interested in what the individual thinks. So a lot of feedback I kind of have to throw away immediately, just by the virtue of it. I know that it conflicts with the data that I have. Say, for example, a good example is a lot of people comment on my shorts is that they would like to hear the sound immediately at the beginning of the short. What that means in a practical sense is that people start watching the short, they get to the sound plays, they're like, I'm not interested in this sound, I don't want to make this sound, and then they skip. And I can see that in my viewers. I can see that whenever I play the sound in the beginning, I sometimes still do it because I still want to please those people as well that do want to have it in the beginning. But I can see that every time that I do it, the viewer retention is lower. People just scroll away earlier because they're not interested in the actual sound that you make. If you keep the actual sound that you're making a secret, and you say, okay, you're going to set this parameter like that parameter like that parameter like that, yada, 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 and you get at second 55 and then you play the sound, people have to wait throughout the whole short to actually hear what you're doing, and therefore they stay longer. So there's like feedback that is conflicting with what I'm actually seeing in the data. Martin Stutzer stopped with live, instead this premiere of pre-recorded love set and chats with his viewers. He uses, I guess he goes live through the premiere mode, in the sense that he is just in the chat there. To be honest, I don't do a lot of premieres. I should do more, because that's another way that I get to interact with people. That being said, also premieres, they tend to not be the best for long-term video performance. They get more people in the door in the first hour when the premiere is actually going live. But it tends to be the case that after the premiere, the graph becomes more like this. Whereas normally your video goes up like that. It's not exactly a straight line, it tapers off a little bit, but it's almost like a straighter line. Whereas the premiere videos, you can see that during the premiere, everybody comes in, everybody watches, then it tapers off as all of your viewers have already seen it in the premiere, and then slowly it starts to pick up again. Nowadays, people's attention spans are even shorter than shorts. Fun thing, what I've heard about attention spans. An attention span in and of itself doesn't really exist. I don't know if I have the paper on hand. Probably if I Google it, I will find it. Attention span, short influence. The impact of short and real on attention spans. Is it? I'm trying to find which of the articles it is that it's referring to. But there was what I wanted to look at was a study. I don't think I can find it here now. Was a study performed somewhere in Thailand, and there what they essentially said is that like there's no such thing as a real attention span. Yes, it may seem that people are paying less attention to stuff that is happening with shorts because shorts are shorter. But the professor said like this: if you had to stare at a wall, just like an empty wall, imagine an empty white wall that you have to stare at. Think about how long you could keep that up while being interested. You're probably going to have 0 seconds attention span there. There's nothing interesting in there. And what is happening is that the demand for interest, or the I guess the speed at which things stay interesting is rising. Not so much the attention span itself of people not being able to pay attention, because there are still people my age and younger that can do something like a continuous action for hours and hours and hours. So it's not like everybody's attention span is just lowering. It's that their satisfaction for content requires a type of content that is much faster in its form of entertainment. It's like slightly different, but it's sometimes interesting to hear these kind of things. I like these discussions and this kind of talk as well. The high-end guy needed one where he asked on the end to write schnitzel in the comments on those who actually watched the whole video. Kind of funny. No patience. I guess it also depends from person to person. Yeah, I don't think how much I want to talk about my own experiences here, but yeah, no, that's not something that I'll talk about. That doesn't have to be on the internet. I think I'm going to end it here for today. Don't worry about. By the way, that last bit is personal, not incriminating or anything like that. I wanted to talk about, I guess, my own experience with attention and that kind of stuff, but I don't have to. Seems like a difficult dance between being informative and also being entertaining. Exactly. You want to keep people coming back through entertainment, and while they're there, you want to teach them something. Shall not be televised. Exactly. Sometimes, like, I am a very open person about what I explain, and that's also the reason why you guys get to see a lot of statistics behind my YouTube channel and that kind of stuff. I just like being open about those kind of things. But sometimes I have to stop myself, not because the thing that I'm saying is maybe like incriminating or is privacy, but some things just don't have to be discussed. You know what I mean? Some things, there is maybe a slight negative that I'm currently not seeing to posting it on the internet, that may become a negative in the future. And the thing that I wanted to jump into head first was kind of one of those things. Like, maybe you should consider all of the different things that can happen if you say this, and in the future, maybe, I don't know, my channel blows up and I get a lot more people paying attention to me. There is I guess I can talk about this. The YouTuber that I used to edit for, I'll just find the main channel. That way you guys have an idea of what he does. The guy that I used to edit for, he does like GTA content, but he's also very outspoken about reaction content. For those that don't know, reaction content is the kind of content where somebody just, like if I clicked on this video and watched this whole video and just sat here and said nothing, that would be react content. And he was very outspoken about it up until the point where people started actually like attacking him and doxing him and that kind of thing. And he said like, if you're a starting up content creator, if you're just starting out, you need to keep in mind that you may become very successful doing this, and then there's things on the internet that you may not want to be on the internet. And that's the kind of thing that sometimes I'm a little bit scared of when I'm myself such an open person where I really talk about everything. Sometimes I just have to stop myself. There's a few things, of course, that everybody has that is just private. I enjoyed this. I really got into testing Bitwig myself, and we both have a live background, so this is a nice POV. You'll be testing more Bitwig in the future. Yes. I initially said when I started on this Bitwig testing journey in the last stream that I wanted to do one Bitwig test stream a week, but that's not really going to be feasible because I just have a lot of other things that I could do. The amount of things that I would be able to do if it made financial sense for me to hire an editor would be crazy. I would be streaming every day if I could do that, but it doesn't, and it never will. Something really crazy has to happen for my type of content, for my niche, to blow up to a point where I can consider having other people edit my stuff. I'm not a fan of reaction videos unless they add context to it. I'm not a fan of reaction videos because when it comes to a reaction video, the format is wrong. You can always make better, more informed videos by not giving your first initial reaction to it, but by taking the video, analyzing it, and then responding to it in a filmed manner. Like, even somebody like, I guess, Asmongold, who people say like he reacts very well in the sense that he pauses a lot and then speaks for a long time, which apparently means that he's, you know, adding to the work or whatever. The problem with that is that he speaks a lot about stuff that is about to be explained in the video. So he has a lot of questions about stuff that if he had watched the whole video, and if it wasn't his first reaction to a video, he would have spoken about. I'd rather watch the original content. Yeah, of course. You always want to watch you should always want to watch the original content. In fact, you're only watching a reaction for the original content because some reactors just stand up and walk away. They just leave. Sometimes you see that. You see a clip of a video playing on YouTube and there's just an empty chair in a camera somewhere. Like, could you imagine if I just did this and left Bitwig playing? If this was my live stream, everybody would leave. If that was the stream, everybody would leave. But they just do it because they have somebody else's content that they can put up there. Somebody else's well-edited, well-informed video that they spend months making. And they don't take any... They just play that on their stream. It's just stealing, yeah. The problem with a lot of those people is they think that they know or have some knowledge about copyright law. Not saying that I'm a lawyer, but I at least know that in order to qualify for your content to be transformative, one not only has to argue that they added something to them, but that they also took some stuff away. What that means is that if you play the whole video, somebody can say like, I have watched the whole video on that person's stream. But if I go into Davy's channel here and I go to videos and I click this video here, after that video plays, you can say I have seen this video, this Planet D16456Y video. I've seen it on Projector stream, right? So I'm not taking anything away from the video. If I only play the first 30 seconds of the video, then I get you are incentivized to continue watching on the actual channel. So then it becomes more like a promotion. When you're just reacting to it, you're not really doing anything in terms of promotion and that kind of stuff. I guess I spent the last half hour rambling. I wanted to close off half an hour ago, but I have to go now. I actually have shorts to film, so yeah, I'm going to stop it here. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed exploring Bitwig with me. I'm going to be doing this more in the future. I'll just have to see when I have the time. But yeah, that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Next one, by the way, is in 2 days. Of course, the feedback stream every Sunday, that will just still continue. So I'll see you guys there.